This is a problem. Why am I like this? I just cannot start anything new until I start to work down this list. Okay, there is a building site next door and it is ruining all of my videos with their hammering. My name is Alyssa and I am a compulsive book starter and non-finisher. I didn't even realize that I had such a bad problem until, oh wait, give me a second. I was at Wickles yesterday and I always like to look at their top 100 list because it often features some really good books that have been voted by readers, and then I always go through and look at which ones that I've read, and I've usually read about a third of them, but I started to realize how many, I mean, out of 100 I had read 32, but I actually had 8 in progress that I'd started, and I thought, that's more than I realized I had in progress. And I didn't even realize that I had a problem because I thought I was only kind of reading a few at the moment that I hadn't finished. So I'm going to go through and look at all of the books that I have started reading that are in progress and make a big list of them. Some of them I've only started, I might be about 10% through the book. Some of them I've actually quite close to finished. I'm at about 80% or something. And I haven't been reading as much since I started writing. My writing time has taken up most of my reading time, but I can't really use that as an excuse because a lot of these books I started long before I started writing. So I'm going to start with the ones that I have a little notebook here that I'm going to write them down. And I'm going to start with the ones that I have physical copies of. This is from the library. So as I mentioned in my previous video, I managed to hang on to it during lockdown, so I'm not actually able to return it just yet, and yet I still didn't finish it. So as you can see, I have that much to go. Honestly, all of these books I'm loving. I love all of these books and I can't wait to get stuck into them again, and I think that that's a lot of what the problem actually is. So let's start with On Writing by Stephen King. I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai. I don't know if that's how you say her name, unfortunately. I only got that far through it. It's a great story though. True story, of course. All the Light We Cannot See. I am that far through. All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. And that's part of the problem, is that I want to give these books my full attention and appreciate them. So I can't just rush through them. The Luminaries by the wonderful New Zealand author Eleanor Catton. Now, I only got that far into it before I realized that I was going to need to give it a bit more attention. I know that it's one that I really need to focus on. I've heard that it has a lot of characters to keep track of, and it won the Man Booker Prize in 2013. Really looking forward to reading that one. And there is actually a TV show coming out as well. And the other two that I have in physical book form are Shantaram, which I've been loving, but I just stopped reading. And that's by Gregory David Roberts, and also Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. That's only 7 books. 7 books in progress, but those are the ones that are actual physical books, which are easier to keep track of than the endless void of my Kindle. Now my Kindle is actually, the battery is flat because I haven't read in a while. So I have the Kindle app on my iPad, which I actually quite often read on my iPad anyway. Let's see what we have here that I have not read. Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. And let me just say, these are books that I've started. The Power of One by BRYCE Courtney. I forgot to mention, this excludes books that I have chosen not to continue. I've tried to read Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, I just can't. I'm 50% through the book according to Kindle, and I just can't. I mean, one day I might get into it and try and continue with it. I know lots of people that have loved it. It's one of the top ones on, it's rated number 5 on the Whitcoul's Top 100. For me, it's a genre issue. Historical romance is just not my jam. The School of Good and Evil by Suman Chainani. I hope that's how you say his name. It's a young adult book. Song of the Dryad by Natalia Lee. Beautiful book. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. 100 Days of Sunlight by Abby Emmons. I mean, I'm 2/3 through that book, 63% through that book, and really enjoyed it, but just The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. To be honest, I didn't love the writing style in that book, and I think that's why I shelved it for a bit. Not so sure about it, but I have heard good things about the overall book, so I will persevere with it. A Gentleman in Moscow. I can't wait to read this book. I started it and I loved it, and I'm telling everyone they should read it, and I'm 3% into the book. The Kite Runner by KHALED HOSSEINI, if that's how you say his name. Any Human Heart by William Boyd. Okay, so that's all I have currently open in the books that I have started and not yet finished. There were more. I had a bunch of other physical books that I've given back to my friends because I just could not get to them, and I cannot start anything new until I finish the majority of what I've got on this list, because I'm looking forward to reading and finishing all of these books. Let's see what we're up to. 17 books I am currently reading, and I'm looking through this going, oh, I've always wanted to read these particular books. I've heard amazing things about a lot of these stories, and I need to be banned from Kindle store, actual shops. I got books for my birthday. I got books for Christmas last year. I just cannot start anything new until I start to work down this list. And I want to know whether this is a problem that writers have, whether when you start writing, you stop reading. I know that I did it at the start when I was actually writing my book, because I found that the books I was reading kind of inspired me or triggered ideas, or I started reading them with the mindset of kind of an objective view of how they'd actually written the book, and it interfered too much with my enjoyment of just reading the book. Now that I've finished my story and I'm in the editing process, it's not so much of an issue. For me, it's more of just a time issue really, and behavioural problem that I've got to stop accumulating new books. That doesn't even count other books I have that I haven't even started. Is this normal? Am I weird? Do other people have this same struggle, or do other people have better self-control? I made a video recently about my reading habits, and in that video I was talking about reading goals and kind of setting a goal of reading a certain number of books per year, and how that would help me to keep on track with making sure that I was giving myself time to read, which, I mean, I haven't actually been reading in a long time. I've hardly been reading this year. I've just been focusing on other things, my work, my yoga teaching, and my writing. And something, you know, when we all have a certain amount of hours in a day, and when you're focusing on other things, something gets sacrificed, and currently reading has been sacrificed. So anyway, I was talking about these reading goals, and about how we should be just reading for the enjoyment of reading, and the appreciation of being lost in these worlds and these stories and how wonderful that experience is. Now I'm thinking I might actually just go back to finishing books, so actually having completion goals of finishing these books. I am lost in the world of 17 stories. That's just diluting my attention, and I need to focus on one thing at a time and get these books read. That's where I'm at the moment. Maybe that will change. I think I've read about 7 books this year, and my goal for this year was 20 for 2020. So that's 13 books to go, and that will really chew through this list. So this is where I'm at currently, reading these books. And I guess I'll just have to report back when I've made progress. I would love to know whether you all have the same problem, whether you're a writer or not. What is your reading behavior like? Please share it in the comments below. I would love to know how many books you have currently open that you are currently reading, and even tell me how many you have on your TBR list to be read, and whether you're a compulsive book starter and non-finisher like me. So please share, I would love to know. And I guess I will just update you later on with my progress. Always want to be in my video, don't you?